Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the Commonwealth's legislative session will soon be coming to an end after Friday night's veto session. And a club came together to honor a former Republican National Committee chair with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 6:30 on Monday, April 15th. Now let's send it over to meteorologist Mace Michaels for a look at your forecast this morning.
Olivia, the sun creeping up and we're looking at warmer temperatures at this hour. 65 right now in Pikeville to start the day. And you can see how the sun is creeping up over the horizon, up over the hills and mountains, and we're seeing that sunshine. Here in Hazard, a little more cloud cover, but it's just patchy. This isn't widespread cloudiness. We will have widespread sunshine for later today. Our Hazard temperature now is at 64. It's a little cooler for you in Jonesville at 48. Upper 50s, Wise and Clintwood, and low 50s around Ashland. But you notice most of our temperatures from Monticello to London to Pikeville and Logan, you again are well into the 60s. Satellite shows limited clouds from yesterday. Today, again, very little cloud cover is expected. We should be seeing lots of sunshine. Temps warm quickly through the 60s and 70s this morning. Olivia, we're looking at 80s once again for later today and actually tomorrow too. There will be a few storms around. I'll detail when the best chance for storms arrives coming up.
All right, Mace, thank you. A ceremonial signing of House Bill 5 is scheduled to take place at the Capitol later today as the 2024 legislative session ends tonight. This all comes after the majority Republican Senate overrode 18 vetoes from Governor Beshear. Jessica Umbro has more from Friday night's flurry of veto overrides in the Senate chamber.
The current system we have for Congress is what this bill changes the Senate to as well. And so there really is no reason to not have Congress and Senate at the federal level be the same.
Some Senate Democrats voted in line with Republicans, including Senator David Yates, who says he was against previous changes to vacancy rules, but is now on board.
Working with this coming forward, I did think it was an improvement, so I voted yes. I will still remain a yes.
The veto was overridden by a vote of 29-5. Another bill on the floor was House Bill 7, which would create a regulatory system for self-driving or autonomous vehicles in Kentucky. Supporters say it's a necessary advancement.
Companies are looking to make investments, Mr. President, and they're not going to make investments if we don't have the structure in place for this technology.
But opponents say the plan is not comprehensive enough.
This act does not fully address questions about safety and security of autonomous vehicles, and other states have implemented lengthy test periods before allowing them.
The Senate voted 21-15 to override the governor's veto. The Safer Kentucky Act, perhaps one of the most talked about pieces of 2024 legislation, was also overridden. Opponents have criticized the bill for measures they say would increase incarceration unjustly.
We're just putting more people on the treadmill that's already been spoken of, with fines and costs and fees, and inability to get employment, and inability to get a house.
And Democrats were not the only ones to speak against the bill. On his way out, Senator Whitney Westerfield expressed his displeasure with the bill, just moments before the Senate voted to override Governor Beshear's veto 27-10.
This is a lot of feel-good stuff. It expands and enhances charges this much when this much was necessary. Next year, come back and add to it in a meaningful way.
That was Jessica Umbro reporting. Legislators have until 11:59 tonight to wrap up this year's legislative session. One Kentucky lawmaker is asking for another to resign after being charged with wire fraud. Last week, we reported a criminal complaint says Commonwealth's attorney Scott Blair used his position of authority to assist various people facing criminal charges in the county between April 2020 and March of this year. The complaint says Blair requested something of value, including sexual favors and methamphetamine, several times from multiple people. Now, Attorney General Russell Coleman is asking Blair to resign. In a statement, Coleman says, quote, prosecutors cannot be effective if they violate the public trust, given the serious accusations of abusing his office to assist criminals in exchange for drugs and sexual favors. The public good demands that Scott Blair immediately resign. Coleman went on to say he wants the families in Perry County to know that they will not be without a felony prosecutor at any point, saying, quote, "Our office, along with law enforcement partners and prosecutors across the Commonwealth, will step in to protect this community and uphold the rule of law," end quote. Saturday marked a decade since the Antonio Franklin Jr. VIP program Peace Walk began. The annual Peace Walk was started by Franklin's mother, Anita Franklin, honoring her son and the many others who have lost their lives due to gun violence in Lexington. After Anita's death, the Fayette County Sheriff's Office and Anita's other son, Ricardo, are continuing her mission with hopes of ending gun violence, one peace walk at a time.
Losing my brother 10 years ago, it's hard to even put into words how it truly feels, and just being able to come back here and, I didn't want to come back here for a while. I didn't have the courage to, but seeing how my mom kind of handled that kind of instilled it in me that I needed to make a difference. So here I am.
In addition to the walk, more than a dozen organizations and even other families of gun violence victims offered resources and a sense of community to others fighting the fight. The Knott County Community Foundation is working to help its people recover after the 2022 floods, and the group is making a lot of noise to let people know they're there. A concert at the Morton Combs Athletic Center brought hundreds of country music fans together for a night of songs from opening act Tyra Madison, a Knott County native, and headliner Clint Black. The concert was a kickoff to the foundation's plan for fundraising, presenting a check for $25,000 to Knott County Long-Term Recovery, with posted opportunities to donate plastered around the venue. Representatives say it is all about visibility for the foundation and bringing a little vibrance after the floods.
Lots of things, lots of pieces of the puzzle here, but the main thing is we want the community, and I'm seeing them just come streaming in right now. We want the community to enjoy a night of celebration together that, we're building back, and we're building back better.
Though we were unable to film Clint Black's set, attendees say it was great to see a big name on their small town stage. The 5th District Lincoln Club gathered Saturday evening to honor the former Republican National Committee Chair Mike Duncan, joined by Representative Hal Rogers and Senator Mitch McConnell. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more from Corbin.
More than 400 Republicans gathered at the Corbin Center to honor the service of former RNC Chair Mike Duncan, awarding him of the Lifetime Achievement Award. Among the panelists was U.S. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
I could remember on numerous occasions trying to talk him into running for office himself. He'd have been a great candidate. He chose not to do that and make his contribution in other ways.
Contributions such as the Center for Rural Development.
Mike Duncan has been a part of practically all of those charitable organizations we put together to do various things, including Unite, Unlawful Narcotics Investigations, Treatment, Education.
Representative Hal Rogers says Duncan has helped create several organizations helping people across the state.
He's been with us the entire time. And we're seeing some results from the various organizations that are headquartered in that center. But the one thing I'm most proud of that he did at the center was start what came to be known as the Rogers Scholars.
Duncan says it is important to stay united as it has gotten the party to the place it is now.
One of the things that I preach to state parties is that you've got to do what you're supposed to do. That's to elect people. You're not a debating society. The debate belongs to those who have run for office that are in office. We're out there to elect people to office. And that holds a lot of state parties back, and it didn't hold us back.
As for his message to future generations of the party,
never give up.
In Corbin, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Also at the 5th District Lincoln Club banquet Saturday night was one Eastern Kentucky mayor who won a special award. Corbin Mayor Susie Rasmus was awarded the Nancy Mitchell Women in Leadership Award. Mitchell was the first woman to serve as a commissioner for the city. Rasmus says Mitchell's legacy has remained alive in Corbin and is inspiring.
She showed us courage and she showed us leadership. I'm so proud to be receiving this honor that's named after her. We live in a different world around here, a better world thanks to Nancy Mitchell. So thank you.
Rasmus says not only could this not be possible without women like Mitchell, but all of the women that came before her. And don't forget, you're running out of time to file your taxes before the deadline that is quickly approaching. Most Americans have until today to submit their returns or request for an extension. The IRS says the majority of people who qualify for refunds will see them within 21 days. The average refund is around $3,200.
Few clouds to show you this morning, but overall the day today will have more sunshine than clouds. We're starting off the day in Whitesburg at 63. You can notice a little cloudiness there on into the background, but the sun will be able to push through that quickly this morning. Here in Hazard, you can see some of those clouds up above as well, but overall the sky partly cloudy now. We'll look for mostly sunny conditions for the majority of the day. 64 here in Hazard, lots of 50s over areas from Manchester to Clint, Wood, and Wise. Ashland also at 53, and Middlesboro has slid back into the 50s along with Jacksboro. Otherwise, it's lots of low and mid 60s over most of the area, even as warm as 67 in Prestonburg. As you look across much of eastern Kentucky, we don't have much in the way of clouds. Overall, most areas are mostly sunny. You'll see a lot of sunshine in the travel forecast through this morning into this afternoon. Late afternoon, there could be an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Our high temperatures again, as we get you out the door, will pop up into the 80s, quickly warming through the 60s and 70s this morning. Coming up in the full forecast, I'll show you how long the heat will last, and we'll give you better timing on when those storms may develop, Olivia.
Thanks, Mason. Thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:41. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. History is made today as former President Donald Trump faces criminal charges in Lower Manhattan.